So the easiest way to start building a deck is, in my opinion, pick one of your favorite monsters and try to build a deck around it. So in my case, my favorite monster is, as you can see, is Dark Necrophyr, and this was also then the deck I started to play again. I just picked it because this was always my favorite monster, and I tried to build a deck around it. And if you read through the text of your boss monster, so most of the times your favorite monster also becomes the boss monster, you already have a little bit of a way to go how to build your deck, because this card says it can only be special summoned by removing 3 fiend type monsters in your graveyard from play. So automatically, by choosing your favorite monster or your boss monster, you kind of know then already what cards to play in your deck. For example, you should play a lot of fiend type monsters then. Alright, so search your favorite monster and try to build a deck around it. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2 for deck building. Yes, I put the English copy of Dark Necrophyr here because translating sucks. Alright, tip number 2. Well, that doesn't apply every time, but at the beginning, or especially for beginners, if you don't know the ratios of your cards, try to play a deck with that doesn't apply any time, okay, or every time, but for the beginning, try to play a deck with 20 monsters, 10 spells, and 10 trap cards. Just for the beginning, okay? As more as you play and as more decks you create, or as more you find out about the deck, what cards are good and what cards are not so good, you're gonna figure it out yourself that you maybe should play more monsters in your deck, or more spells in your deck, or more traps in your deck, okay? But for the start, keep in mind 20 monsters, 10 spells, 10 traps. Makes it more easier. Don't think too much, because otherwise you will become frustrated probably. Okay, so we talked already about boss monsters. Another thing about boss monsters, I know boss monsters are cool and boss monsters look awesome, but an important thing about boss monsters is they should be, first of all, good. Okay, there are boss monsters that have absolutely horrific effects and are absolutely not good to play them. So first of all, your boss monster should have a good effect. Second, your boss monster should be easy to summon, like the case with Dark Necrophyr. You can banish 3 fiend type monsters from your graveyard. Or more known probably is the Blackluster Soldier. You know, it has an extremely good effect. It can banish a monster, or it can attack twice in turn. And to special summon it, you just have to banish a light and a dark monster from your grave. So you know, that's an example of a good boss monster, you know. Easy to summon, good effect, and nowadays it's also searchable, so that's the next thing. Try to make it possible that your boss monster is also searchable and easy to, and that you have easy access to it, alright? So much to the boss monsters. Then go on to a little bit more other type. So that's, for example, Giant Germ. Giant Germ is something we would call a recruiter. A recruiter is a card that says in its effect that if it gets summoned, or if it gets destroyed, or if anything else happens, it will be replaced by another monster, or even allows you to special summon another monster additionally in your turn. And Giant Germ says, if it gets destroyed by battle, you can special summon another Giant Germ directly from your deck. So recruiters allow you to special summon or to summon more monsters in one turn, either via effect or destruction effect or whatever. So play recruiters like Giant Germ or Mystic Tomato or Giant Red, okay? I'm gonna try to explain all these aspects of the game with goat format cards, or with older cards, because probably these cards are more familiar for most of the viewers who try to get back into the game, and they are much easier to explain than the nowadays effect monsters. Okay, recruiters, that allows you to get another monster if special summoned or whatever. Then another very important type is our searchers. Okay, so all these words here, and searchers and recruiters are not officially Konami descriptions for this monster. That's the player-based descriptions. Okay, searchers are cards or monster cards that have an effect that let you search, as the name already says, that let you search another card from your deck to your hand. Okay, so in example, Sangan, probably one of the most famous searchers of all time. If this card gets sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add to your hand a monster with 1500 DK or less. So searchers are cards that let you search through your deck and add to your hand those cards you need right now or maybe later. It always depends on your tactic. So searchers also important. Let's see. That's so much for, and also of course this one, monsters that allow you to recycle. Also one of the most famous cards that can recycle, Sinister Serpent. Of course, that card got a new effect, but the old effect is a little bit better. During the Stamper phase, if this card is in your graveyard, you can return it to your hand. So this card always recycles itself, and try to play cards that somehow recycle. If, for example, if a card gets destroyed, it can add back to your hand from your graveyard a spell card to your hand. Or if you discard a card, then you can special summon that card or something like that. Always try to recycle your cards as good as possible. Alright, and of course, also important, don't play too much high level monsters in your deck. Alright. So level 1 to level 4 is fine, but don't play too much level 6 monsters or level 7 monsters or level 8 monsters, like Dark Necrophilia and Black Luster Soldier. It can be a little bit bricky, not to you. It can be to your disadvantage if you play too much high level monsters at the beginning. Okay, always talk about absolute starters here. Okay, I know there are decks out there that only work with high level monsters and they can special them out very easily, but we talk about beginners. Okay, all right, to the spells. Very important before we go anything else, try to play, there are also monsters who do that and there are also traps who do that, but try to play cards that allow you to draw cards, like Graceful Charity is obviously banned right now, but there are other cards. Pot of Greed is also banned, but there are other cards who basically do the same, like Pot of Greed, like Allure of Darkness or Trade-In or whatever. So play cards that let you draw cards, okay, from your deck, because drawing cards is probably one of the most important things in this game. If you can't draw cards, you can't do anything. Also try to play cards that support each other. A great example for that is a very old card, of course, Call of the Mummy for zombie decks, and Call of the Mummy says it's a spell card. If you control no monsters, you can special summon a zombie monster from your hand, and because you special summon it, you can normal summon another monster again, so you can summon 2 monsters in one turn with a spell card that specifically says for zombie type monsters. Okay, so in this case we play a lot of fiend monsters. You maybe search then for spell and traps that helps fiend type monsters. Okay, if you picked your boss monster and that appears to be a fiend monster, and try to play cards that help with fiend type monsters. Okay, there are many out of there. And for the traps, well, traps, as the name says, are basically here to set up a trap for your opponent. Traps can be anything, really. As you can see here, for example, Call of the Haunted special summons a monster bag. Okay. Okay, that card is banned, but return from a different dimension would special summon also a lot of monsters. Mirror Force, one of the classic monsters, okay, to disrupt enemy from attacking you and destroy all your opponent's monsters. Also to range tribute, it destroys all monsters on the field. Geeky Break, also a nice card to destroy on field. So by the traps, or at the traps, it's really up to you what you play. Of course, there are nowadays whole decks that are based around traps, you know, like Trap Tricks or Eldlich or Labyrinth, where the traps become the most important card in the deck. Cards in the deck, as I said at the beginning, you know, you find it out as more as you play, that some decks needs more traps, some decks needs more spells, some decks need more monsters. Yeah, try that out. I actually don't want to talk too much now. If you're new to the game and want to start again, pick your favorite monster, try to build a deck around it. 40 cards for the beginning, 40 cards, 20 monsters, 10 spells, 10 traps, and see where you're going with your deck. And if you play with it and you test it, you find out yourself you should play more monsters or more spells or more traps. Of course, there's a very easy way to build decks, you know, to search deck profiles. But deck profiles are great for inspiration, and if you've already some clue of the game and know what's going on. But a deck profile always represents the thoughts of the person who created the deck, you know. So that does not automatically mean if you copy that deck that it's your playing style, you know. You can't copy, or it's hard to copy the thoughts from another person. Okay, I guess you are with me on that topic. So watch it more for inspiration than just blindly copy it, okay? And also a great advantage if you have a deck that is 100% built by yourself and created by yourself. It's, you know, you know it 100%, you know. It's nothing strange in this deck, or nothing oh my god, what is that? You know every single card in this deck because you build it and you have put some effort in it, and that's, in my opinion, makes a lot of difference. All right, I hope it helped a bit. I tried to keep it short, you know, not to talk 30 minutes here, how to build the best deck in 10 minutes, oh my god, as a new beginner, blah, blah. Nothing like that, just basic tips. Sometimes it's the easy things that helps more than all the complicated things, and everything else comes naturally if you just play the game. Anyway, I hope you liked it. If you liked it, please let me know in the comments, and also if you don't like it, let me know in the comments if I should do anything better next time. And until then, thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.